these kinds of videos. Saskatchewan would definitely be...
What if he's Yeah, I have to edit this now.
You're like, oh, you have so much editing to do on this if I'm gonna be
Okay, yeah.
Did you blow your nose?
No.
Go blow your nose. What a guy. I missed a call from my mom. What's it? Oh, let's say chocolate. I'm gonna chocolate,
That's my birthday gift from my brother.
Pardon?
That's my birthday gift.
That's a birthday gift from your brother?
From my brother.
Nice.
But how do you feel it? You're paying 5% in Alberta, you used to pay 11% in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
The biggest example we can talk here is about groceries.
It's definitely groceries. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Like, the people there, I find like it's a lot nicer than Alberta. I find in Alberta it's very like everyone's on a mission to get to where they're going.
Yeah.
So yes, it is slightly cheaper when it comes to retail. Retail is cheaper because you're only paying one tax, and so is alcohol. Just throw that
Always
out
the
there.
alcohol, which balances it, everything.
Yeah.
Welcome back everyone for another video, which I promised on the last video we'll be doing another set between a comparison between two provinces, which is Saskatchewan and Alberta. I've got Samantha here, who's my co-worker.
Hi.
She's from Saskatchewan, and yeah, no better person than her to tell us about Saskatchewan here and do a little bit of comparison. So let's get started. In this video we will differentiate between two provinces on the 5 aspects.
Okay.
The first one, of course, would be the wages and the cost of living. And the second one would be transport, like how cheap it is for the people, like average people who doesn't have their own cars, they take public transport, so how easy for them to spend money on daily basis, monthly basis or weekly basis compared to Alberta. That's the second aspect. And the third aspect would be, what was that? Second was transport, third was taxes. How much taxes are we paying in Saskatchewan? Now these are not the income taxes, but these are the taxes which we pay, like GSTs or HST in the province when we go out to groceries, when we go out in restaurants and buy some stuff, or you know, for a meal or for dinner or lunch. Yeah, 4, and the last one would be people.
People.
Yeah, because Canada is a big immigrant country. You see people around the world, lots of diversity. People are moving here from different parts of the world. So how diverse is Saskatchewan? And do you see people from maybe Asia, which you see everywhere? Yeah. And I'm sure there are people from Asia in Saskatchewan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's start with cost of living and wages in Saskatchewan.
Cost of living and wages in Saskatchewan. So it really depends. Like the minimum wage is $11.80. That is your base ground. Usually they start you around $13, $14. Minimum wage is pretty much like it's kind of part of like the Saskatchewan culture. It's kind of where you start like your base ground. So that would be like your teenagers working in grocery stores, pumping gas, so
and they work
so
on $11 per hour.
Yeah, they work $11.81 an hour versus like adults who start working. Then
you get experience. And
then they usually
more.
Start you around 13, 14.
Okay, does it mean the cost of living is cheaper as well because the minimum wage is less than Alberta?
Than Alberta, a little bit. It really depends in which aspect you're speaking because rent. Okay, so Saskatchewan is really broken up. So there's 4 main cities. Okay. And everything else in the whole province is like small towns. So absolutely.
Let's talk about the cities. Let's say Regina is the capital.
Regina is technically the capital, even though it does not have the largest population.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's exactly like Ottawa. For Ontario.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ottawa is the capital.
Well, yeah, I guess, but Toronto has a bigger population.
But then Toronto, everyone moves to Toronto.
So it's like the same thing. So like Saskatoon is bigger, but Regina is still the capital of the province.
Okay. I think they do it in a way in Canada. Because they have these old federal government offices, let's say Parliament in Ottawa.
Yeah.
But not in Toronto. But Toronto is also a financial capital. I'm assuming it's the same in Saskatchewan. Regina is a financial capital.
Well, yeah, because like we have the Parliament in Regina as well.
Oh, so yeah.
So it's exactly the same. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so so how's the cost of living? Like, let's talk about Regina or Saskatoon.
So Regina and Saskatoon, I kind of broke it down into a couple different ways. So I have it like starting with like your housing. So like rent in the city would be like approximately $800 a month, and that is like pretty base level. That's probably you have roommates, at least one.
Wow.
Like it's pretty expensive to live.
And it's
in
a 1-bedroom apartment or a house.
Yeah, that would be like a house with a roommate, or like a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate.
Okay.
Like that would be splitting costs.
Okay, so that means 1-bedroom apartment where you get 1 bedroom and a living area and
like a kitchen and then like a private bathroom. Okay. That would be approximately $800 up to like $1,500. Versus in a small town, it would be like you could have like a 2-bedroom apartment for $650. Like,
wow.
Living in Saskatchewan can be super affordable. It just depends where you live, of course. But the smaller city centers and the smaller towns are kind of like where you will save your money.
So that brings me to, I was thinking about some smaller cities near Regina. So let's say Regina nearby.
Like Moose Jaw. That's a smaller city.
Oh, 45 minutes drive. Mm-hmm. So people living in Regina can actually do the travel.
Yeah.
From Moose Jaw to Regina because it's cheaper to live there.
And that's like a super common thing as well, because Regina will probably pay you better. But it's cheaper to live in Moose Jaw, so people will make the commute.
Yeah, people do that in Toronto as well. Mm-hmm. So it's expensive to live in Toronto, so people will travel every day from Mississauga.
Oh, okay.
Which is cheaper than Toronto. They will travel from Hamilton sometimes. They also travel from North York, where I used to live.
Okay. And how far is that? Like distance?
1 hour drive.
Like an hour drive.
Yeah. Like 1 hour 15 minutes. Hamilton is far. Like 1.5 hour drive. Mississauga is close to 1 hour 15 minutes.
Or that's without maybe. City person traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's a traffic, you stay there forever.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah, so I think it's a good way. You always have some nearby city which is cheaper to live in. Let's say it's cheaper to live in Cochrane here than Calgary.
Exactly.
Right, so people drive from Cochrane to Calgary, but then again, Calgary. When you compare Calgary and Toronto, Calgary is not that expensive as Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Alberta has minimum wage more than Ontario because Alberta's minimum wage is $15 and Ontario's minimum wage is $14 still.
Saskatchewan, $11. $11.
Yeah. Let's talk about industries. Like, I'm sure you have friends in there. Where do they work?
Where do my friends work?
Yeah, I mean,
my friends all have like careers, so like they're like hairdressers or so I have some friends that are servers, so they make like minimum wage, but then they have their tips on top of it.
Yeah, that's how it's servers. Servers are like, it's completely different.
It is.
Yeah. So the cost of living is not bad if you live in Moose Jaw, which is close to Regina. 45 minutes drive from there. And then you pay close to $600 to $800 for a 2-bedroom apartment, right?
Yeah, but then you would have your utilities on top of that because very rarely is it ever included.
Like $100, $80?
It really depends because like in the summer you're not going to be paying nearly as much, but in Saskatchewan it does get so incredibly cold. You are going to start paying in heat between $150 and $200. That's all your utilities included though. And then with your groceries, I put $200 a month, but that's before I was eating healthy. Because like now like one trip to the grocery store in Alberta anyway is like $250, $300, and it's like
plus the gas.
Plus gas, and gas is like 1.5 out here. So.
How about the gas in Saskatchewan?
Gas is a little cheaper in Saskatchewan usually right now with just how things are going here in Alberta. Because Alberta and Saskatchewan were very tight knit. Like we work together and against each other all the time. It's insane. But right now it's pretty much the same. So it's usually about 1.4, 1.5.
Yeah, 1.4 here in
Yeah.
Saskatchewan. There's some place, oh, that's Halifax. Yeah, 1.4. Nice. Yeah,
And
so
it's usually more expensive to get gas in the northern parts of the province.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna open the window. I think it's hot. No?
It's warm.
Is
It's
it?
warm. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just snacking. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so cost of living is cheaper than Alberta.
When it comes down to it, yes.
Yeah, and minimum wage is less than Alberta. So again, depends which industry people work in there.
Yeah, it really depends on your industry, but if you were just to move there with no education, no experience, you would be starting at $11.81 an hour.
Awesome. And what industries are famous in Saskatchewan? Like I've heard, I don't know, I just read on the internet, it's agriculture,
Agriculture is
oil,
yeah.
mining.
A little bit of oil, that's a lot bigger here in Alberta.
Okay.
But agriculture is kind of like the main source of everybody's income. Like it's pretty much all farmland. If you watch it from a plane, it just looks like a quilt.
Okay.
It's super
It's
cool.
all field.
Yeah, it's just field after field
Right,
after field.
field. Perfect. So anyone interested in agriculture, working in agriculture, I think Saskatchewan is a good place to live.
Yes, and we have the University of Saskatchewan, which may be the most expensive university in all of Canada, but it does have the highest quality of education as well.
Wow. So that's University of Saskatchewan?
Yes, University of Saskatchewan.
Oh, this is something new.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a public university. Okay. That's in Saskatoon, right?
That's right in Saskatoon, yeah. And then they do have like bridges outwards into like across the whole province. So like you can be a U of S student in Regina. You can be a U of S student
Yeah, you're right.
in small towns.
It's actually a little bit expensive.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
It is like the craziest tuition.
Because I was into college. I was not into universities in Toronto when I was studying. The college fees for domestic students, I'm not talking about international students because international students pays 3 times more than domestic. So domestic fees were close to $4,000 to $5,000, like average.
Oh, okay.
And I see here it's 7,600 to 17. Oh, that's international. Yeah, so $7,500 average fee. So it is expensive. That means it's well established, and yeah, you get.
And that was when? That was in 2017. So
That's
I think,
27.
yeah.
I'm sure it's gone higher.
well, yeah, and that's like pre-pandemic as well. So
There you go.
Who knows
Yeah.
where it's at now?
Nice. Oh, that's something new. Nice. Yeah. So I think Saskatchewan is a better place to live. Why did you move to Alberta?
Why did I move to Alberta? Personally, like, first of all, I spent like 90% of my life in Saskatchewan, and there's nothing to do. Yes, it's cheap to live, but entertainment-wise,
There's no
There's
nightlife.
next to
Let's talk
nothing.
about nightlife.
there's nightlife. Oh yeah, let's
Like
talk
clubs or
about nightlife.
nightclubs.
So like I said, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Melfort, Saskatchewan, and then I moved to Tisdale, Saskatchewan, which is even smaller. And then I went to Regina, Saskatchewan. So Regina is the city, the capital. And there's really not much for a nightlife there, especially during the pandemic. Keep in mind, when I lived there, there was a whole pandemic going on, so it was all pubs, no clubs.
So you just go there, you drink. And
You have a couple drinks with the boys after work, and then you go home, kind of thing. But nightlife pre-pandemic, like Saskatoon is like the place to go. Don't, yeah, like for all the future viewers, do not go to Regina to go clubbing. Go to Saskatoon.
Oh, okay. How far is Saskatoon from Regina?
I honestly think it's only a couple hours, 4 hours.
2 hours, 37 minutes.
Oh, it's way closer. I never make the commute because I'm always like.
So I'm assuming Saskatchewan will have more population of youngsters than families.
Very much so, because that does have the U of S there as well. So that's kind of where everybody goes.
Yeah.
So pretty much in Saskatchewan, it's very typical where you grow up in a small town from the time you're rather born or like grade 2 or whatever. all the way up. You do all your education in a small town, and as soon as you're in grade 12, everybody gets out. Everyone's like, go to the city.
Independent.
Yeah, so the cities are full of like really young people. So the cultures in cities versus the small towns is insane, because like in the small towns, yeah, there's like diversity, minimal diversity, but there's still diversity. Versus when you go to the city, it's like full of culture, and it's just full
mixed
of
culture.
Yeah, and it's like younger people who want change, who want revolution. So like going to the city is like such a treat for like everybody, because it's like you get out of your small.
So yeah, that's
town.
another aspect here. That if you want a nightlife, there's stuff happening in the cities.
Yeah, if you want to go to like a restaurant, moving here was super funny, because like I'm seeing things in Calgary that like Saskatchewan doesn't have, and it's like I feel like such a little kid, because I'm like in IKEA. I've never seen an IKEA.
There's no IKEA in Saskatchewan.
There's no, not that I know of. No, there's definitely not. I was excited when I moved to the city because I had Costco.
But that's the thing. Things are anyways cheaper in Saskatchewan. Like if you, like I'm assuming, not cheaper.
But we pay more tax.
Let's get there.
Let's go there.
Yeah, let's go to transport.
Okay.
Because we are talking about cost of living. And yeah, so how's the transport? Like, let's say, so when I was in Toronto, I would pay $13.50 for a day and go anywhere in Toronto. In Calgary, it's $11. How about in Saskatchewan?
$8.50.
You guys beat it.
We do.
Yeah.
One thing that I really, really do like about Saskatchewan is when you're in the city, because like if I could just break this down. Like Saskatchewan's so divided between small towns and cities. So in the cities, they're a lot more forward thinking when it comes to the environment. So yes, they have it cheaper because they want people using that, right? Like they want people using the public transport. They don't want everyone driving around and everything. Versus small towns where there is no public transport, the gas is jacked right up.
Yeah.
People don't even carpool out there. They just throw their garbage out the window. Yeah. But
so it is cheaper.
It's definitely a lot cheaper. It's $8.50, and then we were talking about gas earlier.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for the most part, in Saskatchewan anyways, almost everyone has their own vehicle.
Well, Canada is a country where you need your own vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, how much the taxes? Like if you go in Ontario, you pay 13% tax on restaurant bills.
Yeah.
Like if you go pay, let's say, a bill of $100, you pay $13 taxes on it.
Oh.
But if you dine in a Calgary, you pay only 5%. So if your bill is $100, you pay only $5 tax on it. Why? Because Ontario has a provisional tax, so you pay provisional tax 6%, but Calgary doesn't have any provisional tax. So you pay only 5% HST, I think. Yeah, but it's only 5%. How about in Saskatchewan?
It's the same in Saskatchewan. So there is 5% provincial, and then there's 6% government. So that's on all your retail. That's absolutely everything. So there's PST and GST. So 5% PST, 6% GST on everything.
I hate that part of Saskatchewan. Like 13%?
Yeah.
11%.
No, 11. Oh my gosh, 11. I was like going the wrong way.
Yeah, 11% taxes you pay on
everything.
On everything. You do groceries in Saskatchewan, let's say in Regina, and if you do the same groceries in Calgary, you pay only 5% taxes.
So yes, it is slightly cheaper when it comes to retail. Retail is cheaper because you're only paying one tax, and so is alcohol. Throw that
always the alcohol, which balances it, everything.
Yes, actually, alcohol is way cheaper here. Like people from Saskatchewan, if they're on like vacation, they take orders.
Yeah, I realize
people back home. They're like, "Hey, I'm going to Alberta to send you."
Like a bottle of martini in Ontario, I remember I used to get it for like $17. I get here for like $13.
I know. Like no wonder everyone's drunk all the time. It's cheap.
Yeah. And it's cold.
There's nothing else to do.
Warm
Keeps you warm.
Yeah, so taxes are higher a little bit. Not a little bit. It's actually double of Alberta.
Yeah, I was like, there's an extra 5% on there.
Yeah, but how do you feel it? You're paying 5% in Alberta. You used to pay 11% in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
The biggest example we can talk here is about groceries.
It's definitely groceries. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Like with groceries, I find my bills are a lot cheaper, which for me personally makes it easier because now I eat a lot better and I eat a lot healthier.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually kind of an incentive as well, because like I know that I'm gonna be, yes, it's more expensive to eat healthier.
It's good food.
It's better for
Yeah.
you. And you're paying less tax on it anyway.
Yeah.
So it pretty much balances at the end, right? Because like what I would have been paying for the same junk back home, I'm actually eating better here, and I'm paying the same at the end of the day anyway.
Nice. So that means in that sense, Alberta is better.
So yeah, in that sense, Alberta is better. Groceries.
Perfect. So yeah, you pay more taxes in Saskatchewan, 11%. You pay 5% taxes in Alberta when you go out dine, when you do groceries, when you buy alcohol. Yeah, so I think that aspect Alberta is better in Saskatchewan. Last but not the least, we always think about people around. When we move to another province, we think about who we're gonna meet, how the people would be around, how's the diversity, where we will get food of our own culture, or how helpful people are, how polite they are. It does make an impact about the criminal rate as well in the province. And so how do you feel like how Alberta is and how Saskatchewan was?
Now, to compare Alberta and Saskatchewan is a tough one. With Alberta, it is a lot more diverse here. So there's a lot more different people from a lot more different kind of backgrounds.
A lot of Asians.
Lots of people from everywhere.
Lots of people from India.
Lots of yes. I love that though. Anyway, so one thing, like especially where we are, I'm sure you guys know, Rohit is from Kananaskis, Alberta. We live in a very touristy place.
Isolated.
Very isolated, very touristy. So we meet people from all over all the time. But even in Calgary, it's exactly the same. Like you're always surrounded by people from all over the place.
Yeah, it's very diverse here.
In Saskatchewan, it is mainly like, I don't want to say locals because I still consider immigrants locals, but like a lot more, what do you say, Western, you know what I mean?
Like North Americans.
There's a lot of North Americans.
What about natives? There are too many First Nations natives.
So, and yes, there's a lot of like reserves in Saskatchewan, and it really depends where you are in the province. Like it's such a divided province. It's really hard. Like I find Alberta's a lot more blended. But the thing is, Saskatchewan people I find are a lot nicer. They're a lot lighthearted. And it's a lot easier. Like you smile everywhere you go. Everywhere, like you bump into someone, you're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Nice. Like everything's like.
Yeah.
The people there, I find like it's a lot nicer than Alberta. I find in Alberta it's very like everyone's on a mission to get to where they're going, and like.
I think that becomes when you move to a place which is very fast forward, it's a very modern place, developing state.
Yes.
That's how the people are from a particular town or province.
Well, and like in Alberta, it's a lot more city, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not as small town. Like there's still lots of, don't get me wrong,
And
there's a lot of
people.
rednecks out here.
Oh,
and I can say that because I am
True.
one. So like I'm allowed to say that. So there still is that like small town vibes here in Alberta, but like Saskatchewan, it's that's all it is. Like even in the cities, all our fast forward thinking, our city people are still we grew up in small towns, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing with Saskatchewan. Yeah, the people are like I find a little bit nicer and a little bit more conversationalist, but they're a lot. They're less forward thinking. Like we're not as eco-conscious. They don't eat as healthy. Like we're not as active for the most part. Like there still is a community of like everywhere, right? Like this is just kind of my experiences. there's less of it. Like there's
Okay.
less of that. Like versus in Alberta, I find the majority of people they want
to
a healthier
explore
life.
And,
Like
they go out of their comfort zone.
yeah, like they're more willing to go and try new things versus Saskatchewan. They like to kind of stick in their old ways and just kind of
sit on the couch, have their own popcorn, like watch a movie.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, like immigration wise, Saskatchewan actually does have a lot of immigration because it is an easier place to move to when you do come to Canada because it is cheaper to live. There's lots of places to live because nobody wants to live there. So it's easy to find a place. And it's also easy to find work.
Nice, because I'm not sure if you go on the immigration website and see what are the demand because you don't have to because you're Canadian, right? But for us, when we go on the immigration websites, we see which province is actually looking for skills in demand.
Okay.
So provinces like Saskatchewan, I don't want to name this province, Nunavut.
Nunavut?
Yeah. And a province like Alberta, or Prince Edward Island, or Labrador, Newfoundland, New Brunswick. These are the provinces where always government is planning to get immigrants and put it in those provinces. Because one, the population is very low, and the second thing is there are so many skills in demand in those provinces where government is unable to recruit those skills, right? And there's so many jobs which are available, but there's no one to take those jobs.
Because they all want to go live in Calgary.
Yeah, exactly. Like everybody's moving to Calgary, everybody's moving to Toronto, everybody's moving to Vancouver, like BC, Victoria. These are the only few places like every immigrant is moving to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you also like Alberta, right?
I love Alberta. I don't want to leave.
I don't want to go anywhere else apart from...
I would love to stay here, but car insurance out here.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about this. I mean, what about car insurances? That bothers me a lot.
Let's get into it. So the one thing about living in Alberta, this is I love Alberta. If I have it my way, I will spend the rest of my life here because like I love it. It's amazing. I have family here. I have friends here. Like it's amazing. You have the Rockies. You have there's so much beauty. There's so much to do here, and the lifestyle, the quality of living out here is amazing. Like like I said, I would easily hands down stay here forever, but it is so freaking expensive, you guys. I can't even get into it. Like if you're under 25, to clarify, because like the insurance I pay is $1,800 every 3 months. You guys, I don't make enough money.
$1,800?
$1,800?
Are you talking about car insurance?
That's car insurance.
For 3 months?
For 3 months. That being said, let me clarify why. I do not have a good driving record and I'm under the age of 25. So once I'm 25, I'll probably be paying $160.
Okay, so that's the reason. So everyone have to be very careful with it. So when I came to Canada, the first advice I ever got from an Uber driver.
You gotta listen to your Uber drivers, you guys. They know. They have hidden knowledge.
They have, yeah. They will tell you something which no one will tell you. Not even your close friend or family.
Uber drivers know everything.
There are two things very important in Canada whenever you move. Like you have
download Uber and skip the dishes.
There you go. That's the best advice. But so the two advices I got from Uber driver, which was mind blowing, and which makes sense. The first one was, he was like, doesn't matter for how long you will live in Canada. If you're planning to settle down in Canada, live here for a lifetime, the first thing you have to take care of is your driving license.
Oh my God,
Do not
I can't
fuck it
agree more.
up. Do not. Like, you have to have your driving records like clean and crystal.
That's the part they don't tell you in Saskatchewan.
You don't have Uber, maybe.
Yeah, we don't have Uber.
Right?
No, Saskatchewan or Regina, they have Uber and skip the dishes.
And the second advice was, to always make sure your credit score is top notch. You do not borrow a lot of money from the bank.
Yeah, you don't want to fart around.
And even if you borrow money through your credit cards, make sure every single payment every month is paid on time.
Rule of thumb for any young people or new people to the country, don't use more than 30% of your credit card.
There you go. Yeah. So there's a trick in there.
He knows his stuff. Listen.
So I spoke to my relationship manager in Scotia. She explained me things.
Okay.
So she was like, people have this myth saying do not use 30% of your credit limit. She's like, you can use the entire limit of your credit card. That's not a problem. So let's say if you have a credit card which has a credit limit of $1,000, it's not like you will only use $300, but bank is giving you $1,000 to use it.
Yeah,
right?
use 100,000 or use 1,000.
Yeah.
Use 100,000 to be the $1,000
so
credit card.
use $1,000. That's okay. But let's say if my statement is coming out on 30th of month, I have to make sure that I pay 70% of my bills before my statement comes out. So that means your statement should not be more than 30% of your credit limit.
Yeah.
That's a trick in there.
That makes sense.
Because I was asking, I got the same advice from everyone. They were like, do not use 30% of your credit limit. I was like, but bank is giving me like $1,000 every month on my credit card. Why I can only use $300?
Yeah.
So I called up my bank manager and she explained me. She was like, no, you can use the entire credit limit, but then just before your statement comes out, make sure you pay 70% of your bills. So the statement should not have more than 30% of your credit limit. Yes, that's all between Saskatchewan and Alberta.
That's it, that's all.
Yeah, let us know if you like this video. Leave your comments down there. And do not forget to subscribe or share this video if it was helpful in any way to your friends or family. Just share it with anyone moving to Saskatchewan or Alberta, so you will get a clear picture of what's happening in Saskatchewan and Alberta. But we love living in Alberta.
We love Alberta. I'm sorry, Saskatchewan. Alberta has my heart now.
Okay, yeah, so we'll be coming back in another set of video. Let's see, what is that? Probably another comparison between provinces.
But if you guys have any ideas, please let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, sure. And that would be a better idea.
Yeah, give us some ideas. What do you want to hear about? What do you want to know?
Ideas here. Okay, have a good one, guys.